is part 4, which is sort of the final part of my entire fragrance collection series, but there will be a part 5 because I have had some changes since this series has lasted over a month now. It's lasted a while. So I've had some additions, some things that I've gotten rid of. So I will do a part 5 where I show you kind of the organization, how I store everything. And then also, as I show you that, I'll talk about some of the things that I've added to my collection recently. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'm not gonna pretend like this will only take 30 minutes. If it does, woohoo. But I've learned my lesson. I don't think I can do this in 30 minutes. Anyway, let's get started. First up is the House of Ralph Lauren. This first one up will likely be a surprise to a lot of you because one, I decluttered its original version quite some time ago, and I talked about it on my channel, and two, I don't typically love tuberose, but this particular version I really enjoy. This is Ralph Lauren's Woman Intense, and of course has adorable little flask bottle. But anyway, this is still tuberose, as the main note. But with this intense version, it has a lot of vanilla in it, which I think is why I like it. It seems like when you put a bunch of vanilla in with tuberose, then I enjoy it. I do think there are other white florals in here as well, and it seems to be a bit of a creamy woodiness to it. All in all, though, I would say this is a creamy vanillic tuberose with some other floral and woody nuances to it. This wears pretty heavy. It lasts quite some time. Not sure who the perfumer is, but I think it is nicely blended. And I think if you're like me and you struggle with tuberose, but you really like vanilla, that maybe this could work for you too. Next up is one from Ramone Monegal, another really cool bottle. Check it out. It's like a lighter, like an old school lighter, right? Anyway, so this one's called Flamenco, and of course was created by the perfumer Ramone Monegal. This is this really nice, sort of sexy, fruity rose fragrance to me. Yeah, it's definitely very fruity. There's rose. Again, this one has maybe sort of a dry woodiness to it. And then I think it has a little bit of an ambery quality in the dry down, at least to me it does. But mostly it's about the fruit and the rose. So if that sounds good to you, then check out Flamenco. It's my favorite of the Ramone Monegals that I have tried so far, but I haven't tried them all. Still, I think it's really nice. One of the few very fruity fragrances in my collection. Next up is just an amazing fragrance that I picked up after testing through the subscription service that Sense of Wood provides, and it is called Plum and Cognac. Look at the freaking bottle. So you can actually pick the colors you want. It can be black, white, brown, and then I think the tops can be gold. It's maybe silver. I don't remember. You have options for the top as well. But I went with the black and gold because it's a gorgeous combination. Anyway, the scent itself is amazing. It was created by Pascal Garin. He's done a couple for Sense of Wood now. But this is this really boozy sort of plum. And you can see it's aged in a cognac barrel, which is where that booziness comes from. So it is it's delicious. It's dark, it's rich, it's a little bit sweet. To me, it reminds me, it doesn't smell like it, but it reminds me of fragrances in that sort of a tobacco vanille kind of line. It's not spicy like that. It's not necessarily tobacco, but it has that sort of sexy darkness to it. So anyway, if that sounds good to you and you like plum in your fragrances, then check out Plum and Cognac. Also, like I said, it is a bit boozy. I adore it. The lasting power is not fantastic on this, but I'm okay with it. I love the way it smells. So yeah, Plum and Cognac is great. Next, I have two Serge Lutens. The first one up is this one here. It's called Santal Majuscule. And I'm not sure who created this one, but it is this delicious sandalwood cocoa sort of rose combo, or cacao, if you will. Oh, it's so good. This is just this really great, not too creamy, maybe more on the dry side sandalwood, at least to me, and I definitely get that chocolate in there, a little bit of the rose, that's not as prominent, but the chocolate or the cacao with the sandalwood, that is the main sort of combo that I get in this one. I really love it. If you're a fan of those two notes in fragrances, then I highly recommend you check out Santal Majuscule. I also have this one that I recommend for vanilla lovers. It is called Un Bois Vanille. This one was created by Christopher Sheldrake. I would guess that Santal Majuscule was as well, because he does a lot for, if not all, pretty much of Serge Lutens fragrances, but Un Bois Vanille is a fantastic woody vanilla fragrance. It does have a bit of creaminess to it. I think there's supposed to be like coconut milk accord in here, something like that. So it does have this creaminess to it, but that could also be coming from like a sandalwood or something. I'm not exactly sure. Ooh, it looks like it's leaking. That is the downfall of these Serge Lutens bottles because the tops just screw on. So I might need to wrap that. But either way, this is a great fragrance, and I highly recommend it, especially if you like woody vanillas, because that's predominantly what it smells like to me. Next up is a fantastic rose fragrance from a designer house. The house is Stella McCartney, and the fragrance itself is Stella. This is the older version of the EDP, but I think the new versions are good as well. It's so nice. This is like a watery rose peony combo. There's a little bit of like a citrusy thing in the opening, and then it has like an amber accord in the base. It's a fairly simple fragrance, but I just think it's absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend it if you're interested in kind of a simple yet really nice rose fragrance. It can still be found for a pretty decent price, especially the current formulation, but the older ones you can still find for sometimes a decent price. So that one is Stella McCartney, and this was created by Jacques, what's his name? Jacques Cavalier-Beltrude is who created this one. Next, we have one from the house of Stora Skuggan. This is just a really small indie house. The perfumer for this one was Thomas Hempel, and this is called Mistpouffer, as you can see there. I adore this fragrance, very unique scent. So this one has like a sort of leafy quality to it. There's some pine, there's Immortelle for sure in here. That's kind of one of the main players. It also is supposed to have this like ozone accord in here to give it sort of the feeling of a Mistpouffer, which is the sound that comes off the water that is still unexplained by science, apparently. I don't remember the whole story. But anyway, this is really, really nice. It does have a woodiness to it as well, but it's hard to really explain what this smells like because it is quite unique. But I would say in general, if you know what Immortelle smells like, and then you think of that with like piney, like fig leafy sort of woody combo, you might kind of get there. But that's really, really nice. So that one is Mistpouffer. Another indie house that I'm going to feature here is the house of Tower or Towerville. I guess, you know, he has two lines, but they both come from Andy Tower. So first up is the one just from Tower, and it is Une Rose de Kandahar. And gosh, this fragrance is one of my favorite rose fragrances just ever. So this one is like almond, rose. I think there's like some apricot in here. God, it's so good. Definitely a bit of like actual ambergris in this one, which you can pick up. But the rose is just amazing. This one is can be difficult to find because the rose that he uses in this can only be harvested certain times of year. So it's not necessarily always available, but I don't think it's technically limited edition. It's just that if it's out of stock for a while, you just have to wait. I do think this one might have a bit of vanilla and tobacco in it as well, which is probably why it's such a great combo in my opinion. I just adore it though. It doesn't smell like any of my other rose fragrances, and the quality is fantastic. So that one is Une Rose de Kandahar by Andy Tower. And then the other one that I have that Andy Tower's made is from his Towerville line, and this is called Vanilla Flash. So this one is like vanilla, tobacco, rose. It is sweet and maybe a little bit spicy too. I just adore this. I think if you are a lover of vanilla, tobacco, and rose especially, those are the three that I really get. Like I said, a little spicy too, but that really stands out to me. If you're a fan of those three notes like I am, I feel like this is not going to let you down. It's just so good. So that one is Vanilla Flash. I've tried a couple other of the Flash ones as well. I think I like Rose Flash, but there was one that I didn't like as much. I can't remember what it was though. Anyway, Vanilla Flash is my favorite so far from the Towerville fragrances that I've tried. Next, I have two from the house of Theo Cabanel. This first one was created by Cécile Zerokian, and it is called Café Cabanel. And to me, this is a very cinnamony kind of fragrance. Obviously, it says Café Cabanel, so it's supposed to be like a coffee or a latte, I suppose. But for me, it's like mostly cinnamon and tonka. I get like that sort of, mostly like a spicy sort of tonka in there that can kind of go like almondy cherry-like in a way. I get the cinnamon. Yeah, sure, there's like a milky, like sort of latte coffee thing going on in here. But I think mostly if you're a fan of cinnamon, this might be a good bet for you. I'm not in love with it, I'll admit that. I like it, but it's not my favorite gourmand by any means. Mostly because it is a lot of cinnamon. But still really nice. So like I said, like a milky latte, cinnamon, and tonka. That's what I get from this one. That is Cafe Cabanel. And then the other one that I have from Theo Cabanel, I actually like this one even more. This one is called Ooh La La, and it was created by Patrice Revillard. This is like a hazelnut and orris combo. I think there's tonka in this one as well. And then it has like this sort of like light musky, not like a dirty musk, but like a light musky woodiness to it. But I would say like the hazelnut definitely stands out, definitely smells very nutty. The orris root, I can pick that up quite a bit as well. Everything else is kind of a supporting player in my opinion, but I really like that one. That's Ooh La La, and this is just like a little 30 ml bottle, I think. Yeah. Next is one from the house of Terry de Gunsberg, or by Terry is the name of her cosmetics brand. This is called Rouge Nocturne. I was gifted this by skinstore.com, which was really nice of them, but I really love this fragrance. It's really nice. I mean, I picked it out for a reason. It sounded good, and it is. So this was created by Michelle Almeric, and it is like a rose patchouli sort of combo, but it goes kind of powdery, which I like. If you don't like powdery, I don't think you'll like this, but I really do like that powdery quality to it. I would say this also has sort of an ambery base to it, but like when you smell it right away, I think a lot of people, if you're familiar with the rose patchouli combo, would recognize this as such. It is very dark and it will stain, so you have to be careful about that, but it lasts fairly well, and I personally like this more than most, not all, but many of my other like rose patchoulis, or I should say just kind of many of the rose patchoulis that I've tried, and I think it's because it does have that like powderiness to it that I really like. So that one is called Rouge Nocturne. All right, now we are to the house that I'm sure most of you knew would be a big feature of this video, and that is the house of Tom Ford. And first up, let's start with this one here. It is Eau de Soleil Blanc. This is my second bottle of this one, partially because I love it, partially because it doesn't last a long time, but it is a fantastic summer scent. This one was created by Natalie Graciasetto, and it's like coconut, tuberose, orange, like citrusy kind of thing. Sort of has, it doesn't smell like sunscreen, but sort of goes that vibe. Yeah, there are other like coconutty summer fragrances out there, but this is probably my favorite in that genre that I've encountered thus far. Really enjoy it, and I highly recommend it, even though it doesn't last super long. Sometimes these do pop up at the cosmetics company outlet. In fact, all Tom Fords sometimes show up at the cosmetics company outlet, and you can get them then half off, which is what I pretty much always do. Not all of these, but a huge chunk of these are from that store. And then it saves you a ton of money because, as you know, Tom Ford is expensive. Now this line, the Eau de Toilettes, the Eau de, etc., those are often available at Sephora and Ulta, and they're much more inexpensive, but they're still pricey for an Eau de Toilette. So, you know, whenever you can get a discount, go for it. But I think this is great. Next up is Lavender Extreme from Olivier Guillotin, and this one obviously is just an absolute nightmare to try to film or photograph, and it's just totally a fingerprint magnet, but the bottle itself is amazing. This fragrance is just got to be one of my favorite lavender fragrances I've ever smelled, maybe my favorite. It's like this light, refreshing lavender with like a tonka bean sort of combo. There's a bit of cinnamon, I think some other florals, maybe perhaps a light touch of citrus in the opening, it seems like to me, but man, that like lavender tonka-y cinnamon combo is really nice. I really enjoy that. It's not a gourmand because it is very much a lavender fragrance, but it's like if you add some gourmand touches to a lavender fragrance. I love Lavender Extreme, and I was lucky to find this at the cosmetics company store for half off because it is very expensive. Next up is one from Louise Turner. This is Lost Cherry, definitely in contention for my favorite of all Tom Fords that I have. People complain about the longevity. Yeah, sure, I get it. I don't care. It smells amazing. Also, got this one for half off. And this is my second bottle as well, by the way. So this one is just this delicious cherry tonka combo. It has, from the tonka, like an almondy characteristic about it. I think there's like a boozy sort of liqueur note in here, or a chord. It's delicious. It makes my mouth water. It's so, so good. I will never understand people who don't like the way that this smells. Of course, we all have different tastes, and I get that. But this is just so like mouth-wateringly delicious to me that it's hard to fathom why somebody wouldn't like it. So that one is Lost Cherry. I adore it. I understand the performance sucks. I don't care. Next one, and actually I don't think it's terrible, but it's not good. I'll admit that. Anyway, next one, Mandarino di Amalfi Acqua. This is another like eau de toilette version. This one is great for summer. I would say this one has the worst performance of any that I have though. Of course, this is a mandarin fragrance. I would say it's like mostly like mandarin slash like citruses, right? And then maybe like a little bit of like an herbal quality to it. It might be mint. I can't remember what's in here. But it kind of smells like a mint to me. There's also like some clean sort of musks in here, maybe a touch of like a woodiness. But I'm not exactly sure who did this one. It could be Khalees Becker because she did the original Mandarino di Amalfi, but I'm not positive that she did this one. Anyway, I think this smells fantastic, but I will readily admit the performance is not good on this one. But it smells great and it's very refreshing. Here's another one from Jacques Cavalier Beltrude, as well as I think it's Harry Fremont that did this one with him. This is Noir de Noir, considered a very sexy rose patchouli fragrance, and I would agree. This also has a detectable truffle note that reminds me of Black Orchid, if you're familiar with that. I do think there might be some other florals in here. It seems like maybe a little bit of vanilla, but all in all, it's mostly the rose patchouli, and to me, the truffle is what comes out the most. So definitely like a really dark rose fragrance, bit earthy, bit woody-ish, but I think this is very sexy and very much unisex, so men can totally pull this off as well. In fact, I mean, for the most part, Tom Fords are marketed as unisex, except for like the signature line that's, you know, like at Sephora and places like that, but the private collection's all unisex, even though some might lean one way or the other. This one's definitely very much in the middle. Then, of course, we have one from Sonia Constant. This is Noir Perfume. This is known for its kulfi note, which is like an ice cream sort of dessert. Has some spiciness to it, definitely vanillic, creamy. This is really nice. I adore this one, and I've done a whole video on it before, so I'll just link that. But if you haven't checked this out, check it out. This one can choke you out if you overspray it, but I adore it, and I think it's great for fall and winter. Here's a hard to find one because it's been discontinued. I don't know why. This is Plum Japonais from Jan Vasnier. And this, of course, is plum fragrance. I think it has oud. There's like fir balsam in here or something like that. It's ambery. It has like a warm cinnamony-ness to it. I adore this fragrance. I love it. Very different, I think. I shouldn't say very different, somewhat different from the Plum and Cognac, but there is some overlap there. Like I said, the Plum and Cognac with its warmth, maybe it reminds me of this one too, but kind of in this like dark, warm style that Tom Ford does really well. Or I should say the perfumers do really well for Tom Ford. But anyway, I did find this at the cosmetic company store, but they're probably gone at this point. So I'm not sure how easy you're gonna find this for a decent price. But if you ever do see it for a decent price, I highly recommend it. So that one is Plum Japonais. Here's another one that's still readily available, but they changed the packaging. It used to be much more beautiful, like what I have. So this is Santal Blush. Again, Jan Vasnier, and the bottle now is just the standard brown bottle, but I just think this one is gorgeous. This is a very sexy scent to me, personally. I just think it's so, so sexy. It's like this delicious combination. I shouldn't say delicious because it's woody, but it's like, I don't know, it like I said, it's very sexy. So sandalwood, spice, there's maybe a bit of like a resinous, like vanilla, maybe benzoin kind of thing going on in here. Musk, probably some other woods as well in addition to the nice like sexy sandalwood that's in here. But I love this Santal Blush. Again, I think very unisex, but even if you can only get it in the current bottle, I think it's well worth it. However, this bottle is just beautiful. Next up is one of the most famous from Tom Ford. This again was created by Olivier Guillotin, and this is Tobacco Vanille. You probably heard of it. It's got to be, if it's not the most popular or like most well-known of the private collection from Tom Ford, I'm not sure what is, because I think it's this. Anyway, so it's so good. This is tobacco, vanilla, spice. It smells like there's some like dried fruit sort of thing going on in here too. I love it. I love it. I do think that Merchant of Venice Arabesque is very similar, and I might even slightly prefer that one, as I mentioned in my last collection video, but I still adore this one. This is a bottle I've had for a really long time, and it's about half gone, so I definitely wear it, even though it takes me a while to get through stuff. But I mostly wear this in fall and winter. Adore it though. If you haven't smelled it for some reason, and you like tobacco, you need to smell this. And then the last one from Tom Ford that I have is again from Jan Vasnier, and this is Vanille Fatale. Very sexy vanilla fragrance, as the name would indicate. To me, this is like a vanilla sort of myrrh combo. Maybe a bit of like a sort of a soft sort of incensey kind of quality to it. I do think there might be some florals in here, as well as like a little bit of like a suede sort of thing going on. I'm not sure if there's leather, like a leather cord in here or not, but it kind of seems like a light suediness to me. But this is very sexy, and I have gotten compliments on this when I've worn it. Not that that matters, I don't really care. I don't typically get compliments, but people have like mentioned that this smells really good when I've worn it. So there's that. It's a crowd pleaser, if you will. Anyway, that's the last of my Tom Fords, of which I have many, but I love them all. All right, next up is Valentino, and I only have one. This is Donna Aqua. It was created by Sonia Constant. Bottle's gorgeous. And this was a very rare TJ Maxx find that actually worked out. I bought this quite some time ago. And this is more of a spring summer scent for me. It's very light wearing, but it smells so good. It's like this like almond pear sort of combo. I think there's a rice accord in here, supposed to be maybe a bit of tonka, but mostly to me it smells like an almondy pear thing. Like I said, it's light, it's pretty, and it's just really great for spring and summer. I do think this might be discontinued, but you could probably still find it every once in a while. So that one is Donna Aqua. Next I have two from Van Cleef & Arpels, and this first one up is Bois Dore. This was created by Fabrice Pellegrin, and oh, I love the way this one smells. So this is like tonka, vanilla, almond, tobacco for sure. Oh, it's so good. This is like a warm, delicious vanilla tobacco sort of thing, but like I said, it has this like, it's like tonka, I think, but it goes almondy to me. I adore this fragrance. So if you haven't smelled Bois Dore, highly recommend it. I think I got this from one of the discount sites for maybe like around $75 to $80. So it wasn't like super expensive. And I think it smells amazing. So that one is Bois Dore. I also really like the other one. This one is called Orchidée Vanille. And this one was created by Rhonda Hamami. This, my complaint is that the longevity isn't very good. Bois Dore lasts longer than this one, but it still smells great. So this one is like a woody vanilla, but I think it's cedar that's in here. I don't remember for sure. But it has a floral aspect to it as well. I can't remember if it's rose that's in here or what, but it just kind of smells floral to me, nothing too specific. And then again, I think this might have a bit of an almondy tonka sort of quality to it, but definitely a great woody vanilla if you're into that. That's called Orchidée Vanille. Now for two from Viktor&Rolf. This first one is discontinued, which is really sad because it's amazing. This is called Magic Dancing Roses. It's created by Sonia Constant, and it is this delicious sort of, obviously it's rose, but it's like a cherry liqueur sort of rose combo. I think there's lychee in this one as well, but oh my God, it smells amazing. I adore this. I have a little over half left, and I'm like nervous to use it because it's gone. Like you can't even find this anymore, but it smells so good. So if you were lucky enough to get this before it disappeared, congratulations. If you weren't, I'm very sorry for tempting you, but it does smell amazing. The other one I have is Spice Bomb Extreme, and this is marketed towards men, but I just think it's fantastic. It's like, obviously spices, vanilla, I think there's tobacco in here. It smells like baking spices mostly to me, maybe a little bit of pepperiness to it. I adore it. It's fantastic. It's great. I think that all of the Spice Bombs smell really nice, but the Spice Bomb Extreme and also the Infrared, both I really, really enjoy. So check those out if you haven't already. Then I have one from Victoria Minya. This is called Hedonist, and the bottle is part of the reason why I wanted it. Also Monegal from Perfume Realm. She talked about this a long time ago on her channel, and it sounded pretty good, so I picked it up. Oh, I'll link her below, by the way. So the perfumer for this is, of course, Victoria Minya. It's her brand. And this is like this peach osmanthus honey sort of combo. It's yummy. I would say this is like a nice one for summer evenings to me. I think it smells like sweet, but like not too much, and it has that fruitiness to it. I think there is like some sort of like a boozy accord in here, maybe a bit of like a tobacco thing, some woodiness, but it smells very sweet to me, like honey. I don't know that honey's in here, but it kind of smells like honey. I do know for sure though that there's peach and osmanthus in here. And so if you like those notes, which peach can be iffy for me, and it's probably my least favorite part of this fragrance, although I think it's really nice because it is sweet and those other notes kind of make it unique and less awful to me. Like I said, I do like it. I like this. Not a love, I like it. But I think it's kind of like a sweet, sexy sort of fragrance. So anyway, that one is called Hedonist from Victoria Minya. And now we are to another house that I have several from, and that is the house of Xerjoff. So first up, we have 40 Knots. I love all of these Xerjoff ones, but I really love this one. So I'm not sure who created this one, but it's like this combo of like woods. It has like this sort of sea vibe, hence the name 40 Knots. Definitely has a saltiness to it, I would guess, from ambergris. It's so good. There's maybe something like a little bit sweet in here too, but mostly to me, it's sort of like this ambery kind of woody thing going on, like I said, with a bit of like that sort of saltiness to kind of remind you of the sea. I think this is great for man or woman. I just adore it. I think it's fantastic. Well done. Whoever created this, I'm not sure. But that one is 40 Knots, and I'll definitely be wearing this a lot in the fall. This is, to me, a fall scent, although I think a lot of people wear it in the summer too. Next up is one from Jacques Fleury. This is Bouquet Ideal. The name is a little bit deceiving because you would think it's very, very floral. And I do think that there is rose in here, maybe some other florals too. But it's a very spicy kind of fragrance. To me, it smells like different baking spices, maybe some vanilla in here too. A bit of woodiness, and then like a light touch of floral. So I think that this one is marketed towards women, but I think a man could definitely wear this as well. I kind of wish I got the bigger bottle. Look how tiny this is. It's like this little 30 ml. The color of this bottle though, that red is absolutely stunning. Anyway, that's fantastic. I love it. And like I said, I think the name is misleading. So if you thought this was going to be a very floral fragrance and you didn't try it because of that, I would recommend you go back and test it out, because it's not. It's more of like a sweet, spicy fragrance with florals. Next up is a great vanilla from Xerjoff. This is called Dama Bianca. Again, not sure who created this one, but it's like this vanilla. I think there's kumquat in here of all things. There's a bit of iris or other, like I think it's iris and maybe some other florals. And this one has ambrette in it, which I adore. Gives it like sort of a little bit of like a dirtiness. It doesn't smell dirty at all. It smells very beautiful. This is a perfect wedding day scent, but it just gives it like that sort of musky edge that comes from the ambrette. I do think there's a bit of woods in here as well, but this is a great mostly vanilla kumquat combo, and I get compliments on this when I wear it as well. It's beautiful. So that one is called Dama Bianca. Then we have another one of my absolute favorites, although God, it's so hard to pick a favorite from these Xerjoffs because they're amazing. This one is again from Jacques Fleury, and it is called Ibitira. Now this is an old bottle, doesn't look like this now if you buy it. This is a 50 ml, and it's this beautiful, absolutely amazing iris scent. So this one with the iris, I think there's violet in there, which is a pretty common combination, but there's this wonderful lemon note. I love it. It's so uplifting. It's clean. I'm pretty sure there's like a, a white musk sort of thing going on there, giving it that vibe. Definitely some woodiness, maybe a touch of vanilla in here too. And I think maybe like it could be vetiver that's the wood in here. I'm not sure, but it kind of smells like there could be a vetiver going on in here, because that vetiver iris citrus combo for me personally is always a winner. So I absolutely love this. I think I put it as number 2 for my iris fragrances, but I said it's a very close tie with this and Nuit Bleu from Maison Violet. And yep, I love them both. The seriously amazing iris fragrance right here. Next up is one from Chris Maurice that probably almost everyone has heard of. It is Lyra. This is an amazing gourmand. I actually prefer this over Italica, which is the gourmand that gets hyped a lot nowadays from Xerjoff. But this was the original hyped up gourmand from Xerjoff. Look at me, I'm a Xerjoff gourmand hipster. Anyway, oh, it's so good. So this is supposed to be like caramel, vanilla, and I think it's supposed to be blood orange that's in here, but to me it smells like lemon. It smells like a delicious, yummy caramel lemon cake, and I adore it. I want to eat it. There's definitely like some cinnamon or baking spice sort of thing going on in here too. It's so good. But if you like the idea of smelling like a lemon cake drizzled in caramel, Lyra is going to be the winner for you. So that one is fantastic. And then the last Xerjoff that I have is one that is unisex, but I think men tend to go for more often than women do. This is called Naxos. And this is just this wonderful, wonderful, like honeyed sort of tonka tobacco fragrance. This does smell to me like there is a little bit of lavender in here and maybe some vanilla as well. Probably a touch of citrus in the opening, but it doesn't really, like, that's not prominent to me. What I mostly get is that honeyed tonka, like spicy, sort of maybe a little bit powdery tonka with tobacco. And I love it. I think it's very sexy and would love to smell this on a man, but also love wearing it myself. So that one is Naxos. Next up, I have 4 from Yves Saint Laurent, and the first one up is a new release. This is Black Opium Extreme, or Extreme, if you will. So this is basically an amped up version of the original Black Opium. To me, it smells like Black Opium, but with more coffee and a little bit stronger, which is what I always wanted. I do like the original Black Opium. I've never owned a bottle, but I've like tested it many, many times, like throughout many years, and I've always enjoyed it and found it pleasant, but I do prefer this one over it. Not sure who created this, but again, it smells like the original. So you have like a lot of coffee in this one. I would say you have like the vanilla, the patchouli, the cacao, of course, like that chocolatey sort of note in here too, but yeah. It smells like the original, just more coffee. So if that's what you wanted and you wanted something a little bit stronger, not a lot, but a little bit stronger, then I think Black Opium Extreme would be the version for you. And I love coffee, so that's why I ended up going for this one. I do also, though, have the Intense version, which, you know, sounds a whole lot like Extreme, you know, Extreme, Intense, kind of similar. But this one has like this bluish tone to the bottle, which I think is really pretty. Again, not sure who did this one, but the main difference between this and the others, like the Extreme and the original, this one, I still get the florals in this one like I do the original. And yeah, I get it to some extent in the Extreme too, but maybe a little less so. But here, I would say there's an added absinthe note, which you can kind of pick up. But the coffee here is, again, maybe slightly more prominent than the original, but not as much as the Extreme. This one actually is pretty light wearing in my opinion, so the Intense was a poor name for this. The Extreme is what I expected the Intense to be. This was a blind buy. I don't dislike it. I do find the absinthe note interesting in here, but the Extreme is what I was really looking for when I purchased the Intense. Next is one from their like high-end collection. This is called Sleek Suede. It was created by Mathilde Bijou. And this is just absolutely delicious. So you can see it says Fève de Cacao, so like cacao bean, right? Then Oud Noir, so there's like oud in here. So obviously there's a suede note, but it's like suede, vanilla, makes it very delicious. And of course there's the oud, the cacao. And then I do think there's maybe a bit of tobacco in here too, as well as a touch of like maybe a little bit of sort of an uplifting kind of spicy incense sort of thing going on, or resinousy kind of incense thing going on. I don't know. But it definitely, to me, smells like vanilla, suede, and then the chocolate, cacao, and the oud for sure. And I do think there's tobacco for sure. So that one is fantastic. Definitely up my alley if you know my preferences. I want to try more from this line as well as this other line, which they're both kind of the high-end collection, but separate lines within it. This one is called Velours. This is a big bottle. So Velours was created by Carlos Benim, and this one is like, it has a nice note of orris in here. It's orris and vanilla. There's maybe something a little bit, I don't know, like resinous to this one as well. I do think this one has a black tea note in here, which I can vaguely pick up, but it's not very prominent. It does have a little bit of an ambery sort of dry down. So if you don't love amber and you mostly just want vanilla, that's not this. This is definitely like vanilla as a supporting player with the iris and the ambery qualities. And like I said, I think there's the tea in there as well. Maybe a touch of florals, but it's really nice. And you can see on the front, it actually says like Bois Ambres, which I think is amberwood, and vanilla, it says on there. So that kind of gives you an idea of the profile. Next, I have 2 cheapies from Yves Rocher. The first one up is Cuir de Nuit, which I think people say reminds them of Spiritus du Blaveny. A little bit, but not exactly. Still, I really like this one. It was created by Amandine Clerc Marie, I think is who created this one. And it's like vanilla, cacao, a little bit of like a pink peppery thing going on, maybe a touch of coffee. But it is mostly a vanilla fragrance to me. I do kind of see where people are saying it reminds them a bit of Spiritus du Blaveny. This maybe kind of goes a little bit powdery to me though, just a little different from the Guerlain. Although obviously this is way more affordable. So if the Guerlain is like just not doable for your budget and you want something, like you want a nice sort of vanilla substitute for it, I do think this could be a good option, but don't expect it to be identical. The other one I have from Yves Rocher is Nuvo Genre. It was created by Marie Salamain. And this one I think people say smells a bit like, well, there's a discontinued fragrance that I don't remember the name of that people say it smells like, but also Angel Muse is the one that I'm familiar with. And I can see it because this does have like a patchouli thing going on like Angel, but it's like sweeter. So kind of the Angel Muse thing. I think there's tonka in this one, a little bit of like a woodiness, maybe some musk, but definitely like a nice sweet tonka-y patchouli. Really like this. I think this is a great buy. And this was like even more on sale when I got it because it seems like they always have their fragrances on discount. But this one, I think it said like last call, so I don't know if it's being discontinued, but it was even cheaper than the other ones. And it is my favorite of everything I've tried from them so far. So that one is Nuvo Genre and it's fantastic. Highly recommend, especially for the price because this is like 100 mils and I think I paid like 30-ish for it. So good deal. All right, we are nearing the end because we have hit the Z's and I have two houses here. The first one is Xerjoff. And I got these for free. So just to be clear, I always like to tell you guys when I got something for free. If I don't say anything, that's because I paid for it, which is of course the majority of my collection. But this first one up is Brass and Soul. This is Justin Copeland's fragrance he did with Xerjoff. This is a really nice sort of fresh, little bit kind of barbershop-y style fragrance. This one has this nice sort of juniper, like gin and tonic-y kind of thing going on. There's definitely like lavender, some sort of like aromatic quality to it, bit of citrus. And as this dries down, it gets a little bit warmer. I think there's like some vanilla, spice, things like that going on, but it does stay a pretty like fresh, clean fragrance overall. It just warms up a little bit as it dries down, which I really enjoy. It does lean a little bit masculine, so I would probably prefer to smell this on a man as opposed to wear it myself, although I do wear it myself sometimes and I enjoy it, but just be aware this does, in my opinion, lean a little bit of what would be perceived as traditionally masculine based on marketing. So that one is Brass and Soul. Next up is Business Over Pleasure, which was created by Ross over at TLTG Reviews. And this one was created by Claude Dore. And I forgot to say that Brass and Soul was created by Vincent Kaczynski, I think is his name. But this was created by Claude Dore. And this one to me is a little bit more unisex. It has iris in it, which I love, as you know. And it, again, smells very fresh and clean. This also has like some like pepperiness to it, a bit of ginger, bit of like a woodiness to it. I just adore it. So that one is really, really nice. And I do think that it is more unisex on that spectrum. There's also, this is my favorite of all of my Xerjoffs. This is Signature Rosé, again, created by Claude Dore. This is like a rose, incensey, myrrh, ambery kind of combo. So it's like a deep, rich rose. It is so good. It also, I think, has a little bit of a boozy quality, in my opinion. But if you like the idea of the rose incense combo, which I know there are several options for, but I highly recommend this one. I think it's fantastic. And this is marketed as unisex, so, you know, good for anyone. But this is my favorite of all the Xerjoffs I've tried so far. Here's another great one though. This is Andrea from Curly Scents Fragrance with her boyfriend Anthony, of course. They together created this one called The Siren. And this one is great for fall and winter. It was created by Gino Percantino, I think is his name. And this one is like, has this nutty quality to me. It's like spicy, nutty. It's a bit of like leather for sure. It has a leathery quality, some coffee perhaps, cacao, patchouli. It's really nice. Reminds me a bit of Xerjoff Golden Dala. A lot of people say it reminds them of the Kilian Black Phantom, I think it is. But I still think it's got its own unique take on that, and I think it's great. So if you haven't checked that one out, I think that's going to appeal to a lot of people. This one is also marketed as unisex, so that is The Siren. Last up is one from Zara. It is called Ebony Wood and was created by Joe Malone for the Joe Loves collection at Zara. This one is a pretty simple fragrance. It's just the ebony wood, clove, and pink pepper, I think. But I find this really relaxing. Like, even though it does have the spice to it, to me, it's kind of serene. And I enjoy wearing this like when I'm just kind of chilling at home or in the evenings. That's predominantly when I wear it. It doesn't have like fantastic lasting power, but it's not horrible either. And obviously, because it's from Zara, it's not too expensive. It's more expensive than their normal fragrances, but it's nothing crazy. I think it's like $35 to $40 for, what is this, 90 mils, something like that. I really enjoy it though. This is my favorite from this collection. I also liked Vetiver Pamplemousse, but Ebony Wood was definitely my favorite from the original Joe Loves collection. I want to try some more of like the newer ones, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So anyway, that's the last one today. It is Ebony Wood from Zara. All right, so those are all my fragrances from houses that begin with R through Z, and this was part 4. Technically sort of the last part, but there will be a part 5, like I said, to just update you on any changes that have occurred. I definitely have some new fragrances, especially from the first set, especially from houses that begin with the letter C. So if you want to take guesses as to which houses I acquired new fragrances from that begin with the letter C, leave me a comment down below. Also, let me know which of these fragrances you have in your collection, which ones you want to try, what do you like, what do you dislike. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And thank you all so much for sticking with me through these long videos. Like I said, I was trying to make them 30 minutes each. That never happened. It probably won't happen this time either. But either way, I do appreciate you all watching. And I see that you all are watching. Like, the watch time on these is pretty good. Like, people are not clicking off too quickly. So thanks for sticking with me. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, please click subscribe, because why would you watch me for this long if you're not going to subscribe? And, you know, don't forget to click the notification bell, hit the like, comment, all that good stuff, right? I appreciate you all. I hope you're having a great week, and I will see you very soon. Bye.